Welcome back to News Now on PNC. Last night, UOG officially launched a book called The Massacre at Atate. The book is a memoir of a little-known rebellion against the Japanese by the men of Malessu, written by Malessu's Jose Torres with the help of UOG's Chamorro Studies program.
I started learning when I was 21. I'm 24 now. It only takes is dedication.
When people think about the Chamorro experience during World War II, we think about suffering and we think about resilience and we think about more suffering and then we think about more resilience and then we hear screaming and hollering and you know sometimes it's just way too much. And then once in a while you hear a story about somebody who said, no, we're not going to do this, we're going to take it into our hands.
And that's exactly what the people of Malessu did. After dozens were massacred at the Tinta and Faja areas of Malessu, other residents of the village rebelled against the Japanese and actually overthrew a Japanese command post there in Malessu.
The reason why I wrote the book is to preserve the history of what happened to the people of Malessu, who suffered more than anybody else. 46 of our men and women were killed.
Mr. Jose Torres was a 15-year-old boy during this time, and together with Dr. Michael Lujan Bavacqua and UOG's Chamorro Studies program, they have published a book of his memoirs from that little-known rebellion.
In the kitchen, I found some cooked bananas and breakfast, but I had lost my appetite. I started to weep bitterly upon thinking how the Japanese were cruelly treating us, my family and my aged grandmother most especially. This renewed and intensified hatred and contempt for the Japanese was to serve my sight. Well, during the violent incident that I participated in the day after I had reached the Atate camp.
Last night, UOG held an official book launch and book signing in its lecture hall. Torres read excerpts from the book that explained why the people of Malessu became so enraged with their Japanese oppressors that they rebelled. And Torres was a part of that uprising against the Japanese in Malessu during World War II. Jose Tonko Regis organized that uprising of men in the village, and during broad daylight and with only one rifle, they attacked a Japanese command post, liberating their village. A group of 6, including Mr. Torres, then sailed out to sea to find help, and they discovered a U.S. fleet on the western coast of Guam where they provided military intelligence on the Japanese forces. And in other news, a group of Chamorro language enthusiasts and teachers are challenging others to spend an entire day speaking only in the Chamorro language. Ken Gofagan Cooper says he and UOG Professor Dr. Michael Lujan Bavacqua are coordinating this day called Ha'anan Finu Chamorroha on March 1st. Gofagan Cooper says that the Chamorro language has been around for thousands of years, and although it is in danger of dying, it's still alive, and it will not die if people continue to use it. If you think you're too old to learn Chamorro, Cooper says think again.
I started learning when I was 21. I'm 24 now. It only takes is dedication and hard work. Anybody can learn the language. It is definitely not too late. So if you're out there and you think that you're 20, 30, 40, 50 and it's too late to learn Chamorro, please just try, and I guarantee you if you work hard enough, by next year, March 1st, you'll be joining us completely.
If you aren't a fluent Chamorro speaker, Gofagan Cooper says that you can start by making a 30-second or 2-minute video of yourself attempting to speak Chamorro. Improvements are coming to the island's southern water lines. The Consolidated Commission on Utilities last night voted unanimously to approve the replacement of the water lines in Agate and Santa Rita. CHI Construction Inc. is the contractor for the $705,000 project, which is known as Phase 3 of GWA's line replacement project. CCU Chairman Joey Duenas told PNC that the repairs are badly needed as more leaks are exposed in southern lines. These leaks became more apparent with GWA's decision to no longer purchase water from the Navy.
Having that happen, we've come. You have to ask the interim general manager, but I think it kind of led GWA came to realize that it masked a lot of leaks in that area. because we had all this water flowing in. It's like if you have a faucet on your house on the outside of the house and you leave it open, in the rest of the house you still have water, but you're losing water, and water's a precious resource.
And also at last night's CCU meeting, commissioners voted to name Mark Miller as the new interim general manager at GWA. Dueña says Miller's appointment will relieve Tom Cruise from his duties as interim GM so that he can return to his work as a GWA engineer. Governor Eddie Calvo told federal officials at the annual IGIA meeting in the nation's capital that the lack of adequate compact aid to Guam has had tragic results and the government needs to take a new approach. PNC's Washington correspondent Matt Kay reports.
NMI Congressman Greg Sablon says he's been waiting for the chance to change the 2001 No Child Left Behind Act since he was first elected to Congress 6 years ago. This month he got that chance as the Education and Workforce Committee took up the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, and Sablon proposed a formula change that would add millions to local education coffers in the islands, according to the Congressional Research Service.
Funding for elementary and secondary education nationwide is $10,667 per student. In my district, we can provide $6,246. And that is not for lack of local commitment. In November of last year, voters amended our Constitution, increasing the requirement for the percentage of local revenues that must go to education each year.
Without federal support, Sablon says his schools are sunk.
The reality is that household incomes in the Northern Marianas are less than half the national median. So our local revenues are necessarily limited, and our local capacity to support our schools is not what is in the rest of America. That's why federal support is crucial. Federal support represents half of the $6,000 we're able to provide to our schools and students.
Barring federal help, Sablon says local students would have fewer textbooks, more crowded classrooms, and less chance for a life they could have had. His formula change is co-sponsored by Guam's Madeline Bordallo and Donna Christensen of the Virgin Islands. Newly elected GOP delegate Amata Ratawagan of American Samoa had not yet signed on as of last week. On Capitol Hill, Matt Kay for PNC News.